Hello everyone, I'm Laura Beck, and this is the Outlet Unplugged presents 10 Questions. Tonight we have Ken Fowler, who will be showing us his comedic styles at our show on October 25th at the Outlet Unplugged. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
What were some of your main influences that got you into comedy?
As a kid, Carlin, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, Monty Python, George Carlin. I was constantly, entertaining my friends and annoying the crap out of my parents, having those things memorized and just rattling them off constantly.
George Carlin is definitely his master for what he does, and Pryor.
Yep.
You have done, stand-up, up and down the Northeast, and you've done TV shows and commercial spots for Spike TV and Comedy Central. Which one do you find to be the most enjoyable to do?
As comedy gigs or acting gigs?
I guess performing gigs.
I like them both. It beats regular work, either one. But they both have, they got their good points, they have their down points. Comedy is great because it's just, if you like that feeling of working without a net, I'm a risk taker, but then also, not every show that I get to do is in front of a couple hundred people. There have been times where I'm doing a late show on a Saturday night for 4 people, but you've got to entertain them.
Yeah.
So, doing the acting gigs, it's nice because it's very easy work, especially if there's a good craft service table. It's a fun day.
So that's why you really get into acting.
Yeah.
Craft service.
But sometimes things happen. I dislocated my thumb once on a Kings Leon video shoot.
Oh wow.
I've done some stunts and stuff also, so I was hired for that, to be a big guy just throwing people around, but I wasn't paying attention, popped the thumb, but finished the video.
I hope they paid for it.
It was a non-union, kind of a extra gig, so
okay.
it was a nice chunk of cash, but there was no medical insurance or anything involved. I can take a punch.
Yeah, right. Was there ever a time in your comedy career that there were certain topics that you would not make a joke about?
No, not really, because even after I was living in Manhattan during 9/11, or right around there, and I still did some of the same material. I did some new material. I have a joke that I still tell now in the act. I work in it every now and then. It's as with most comics, I think we ask them, the final litmus test is it funny?
Yeah.
If it's funny, it's funny. If it's not,
yeah,
that's the way it goes. Although I was not paid once for a show after the whole Michael Richards flap and with the N-word.
Oh, yes.
And I have a joke that, I have a routine that has the N-word in it, but to hear the joke, I've done it everywhere from like Harlem to Florida. The joke has always killed, and at some particular show, the shady promoter, he claimed there was one person in the audience that complained. So I did not get paid for that gig. Sometimes that can happen when you do this kind of work.
Yeah, I guess you definitely have to know the audience, and I guess it's.
Well, the audience loved it. I still have the recording of it.
Yeah, but it takes one person.
I know, but also something like that normally wouldn't matter. But if you're stuck with a gig that you were booked by someone who's not necessarily on the up and up, there are people out there looking for excuses to screw around with you.
Yeah.
So.
Certainly. What are some topics that you do like to cover?
The safe ones: religion, politics, family, ex-wives.
Of course.
Well, like I said, there are some crowds there. If I don't think they're receptive, if I sort of throw out maybe the beginning of a routine and it doesn't seem like it's being too well received, or sometimes a crowd just doesn't get it, you'll have to readjust. You got to think on your feet and go somewhere else.
I can imagine does that ever throw you off as far as like being nervous about that, like knowing that you have to change topics or?
Well, maybe not even so much nervous as just sort of frustrating. You feel like you got something going and all of a sudden I've got to stop and backtrack and take another run at them.
Yeah.
But that's why you have those. You just got to be able to think on your feet.
And how would you describe your comedic style?
I guess, no. I can't say I'm, strictly observational, but I mean, it's I guess, an amalgamation of all the usual stuff, there's some things that are more of a straight joke, but a lot of it, for me, it's mostly personal experience, observational, I guess, and just making fun of stuff.
And talking about your style, what exactly is your writing style? Is like the process that you go through?
It depends. It's just sometimes something will just strike you at a certain time, and you just write it down. A lot of times, things will hit me just as I'm falling asleep. Also, when you're in a club and you're doing a bit that you've done a bunch of times. I started out doing theater, so if you're doing a theater production, the same thing, night after night after night, you've got to do something to make it feel fresh to them. I mean, you can't always deviate from the script, but if I'm doing routines, like there's some bits I've been doing for 10 years, and I'll be doing it again someplace, and something that somebody says in the audience, or something that I just happen to think of that ricochets off another thought I had during the day, and that's how bits will grow.
What advice would you give to young comedians out there?
Stay out of the business. There's too many of us already. It's a hard life. It's a hard life.
Yeah.
I've had my starts and stops, and for better or for worse, whether I'm dumb or not, I keep doing it because I can't not do it. So.
Yeah, it's what feeds your soul.
Well, like I said, I've had some rough nights in comedy. I used to be on staff at comedy clubs in New York City. I used to work at New York Comedy Club, Gotham Comedy Club when it first opened. I went with Chris Mazzilli to open that. I've had nights when I had to be the bartender and do a set and collect checks and play room security. And I've been stabbed on the job.
You've been stabbed?
I was stabbed on the job.
How did that happen?
A bunch of kids trying to beat a check, and I had to play, room bouncer, and when I wasn't looking, somebody stuck me in the arm with something. And,
oh my.
And it's a long sort of story which is not fit to tell here. So,
sounds like a hard life of a comic.
It can be. It can. Well, like I said, it's not an easy life. Well, or anything in any performing art, a musician, an actor, something. You're looking at it. If on a good day, you're looking at a 90% unemployment rate.
Yeah.
So.
Starving artist.
I knew the job was dangerous when I took it.
What's not funny to you that you see a lot of in stand-up?
Some of the, I guess, just because it's maybe not my particular cup of tea, but ventriloquists. There's something about ventriloquists. Some of them some of them have some stuff that'll make you laugh, but the majority of them that I've seen, it's a lot of the same kind of stuff. It's the dummies, the raconteur kind of crazy guy, or just however they work it. But the thing that always used to drive me nuts when I worked at clubs and was on staff was the guy that wouldn't put the stinking dummy down after the show was over. All right, we got it. We know you were the one that's really talking, but some people eat it up. So that's that. And like some of the old hacky stuff, like just all this, what if so and so was doing this? It's like the base, the guys that they're trying to learn impressions. I see that a lot. Where what if, Robert De Niro was blah blah blah.
I am.
I mean, some guys can do it very well. A lot of them can't.
Yeah.
And it's also the kind of thing where I never took comedy classes, and not that I don't think I can't learn anything. I can't afford it. But I see a lot of formula comedy, which I guess. It works in a sense, depending on how you utilize it. For me, I've always been organic. There's no singular comedy formula that I'll always go back to try and to craft a bit. Like I rarely sit down and go, okay, I'll break the joke. So it's
just kind of reminds me of a comedian, Andrew Dice Clay, that had his formula for nursery rhymes, and that was his shtick.
Yeah. Well, he and a few other comics years. There was actually the only ventriloquist act I ever liked, Otto and George, from years ago. They had one of their bits was telling dirty nursery rhymes, and there was always a little bit of bad feeling because Andrew got so big and Otto was always he's doing my jokes. It's we're all mental. We're all out of our minds.
Do you ever feel like you have to be on for certain people? And if so, how do you handle yourself in those situations?
Well, for some, in some situations, for like an audition, this, things like this. But you're just in regular life. No, I'm not an on person, but there are times where you feel you have to, be a little more, out there, out front, and be on. It's as a rule, no, I don't. It depends if it's maybe just that whole wanting to be wanting to be the one that gives a good impression, like to make that first good impression. So it's more often than not, unless it's a situation like that, I'm pretty much always the same, warped, marginally functional human being I always am.
Well, it's taken you far, so.
It's so far. I got a kid going to college soon. I need that development deal. I'm telling you.
We should start, into ventriloquism maybe. That could help.
I'd say, well, I'm gonna have to build my own dummies. I'm not paying money for one of those things.
Let's see. Do you have any shows coming out or websites people can check you out at?
I wish to God I did. I was almost gonna. I had to do something else this Saturday, so I couldn't take a show. As of right now, the best show you can catch me on will be October 25th at Strange Brew in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Well, it's awesome.
It's if something else comes up, I'll put it up on the page.
Okay, great.
But there's some times where I had a gig that just got canceled. It was going to be in a strip club, and that used to be the old burlesque kind of thing. They would have comics and strippers, but that's an art form. I think it's really kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah, and plus when they pay you at the end, you don't know where that money came from.
I've had my shots, so not that I haven't spent my share of time in strip clubs back in the day. So there's nothing they can.
Nothing they can throw at you.
Yeah, been there, done that. Send you a postcard.
Great. Well, thanks, Ken, for coming out.
All right, thank you for having me. I am looking forward to the show.
Yes, we are too. So you can catch Ken at our October 25th show at Strange Brew Tavern, and you can also see other interviews of the performers there on our Facebook page, as well as links to sound clips. So be sure to come out to our Halloween bash. And as always, keep it loud and local.